Welcome back to another series. We are at Natural Bridge Wildlife Ranch. We're currently in the drive-thru, but we've got a special guest today. We'd love to introduce you guys to Deon Cilliers.
Thank you for having me. It's quite interesting and an honor to be here.
Thanks for joining. All right, we're going to answer some questions today and hopefully tell you guys a little bit more about what he does in Cheetah Outreach Trust. All right, Deon, now cheetahs have a lot of really interesting features about them, but we'd love to hear from you. What do you think makes a cheetah unique?
Well, firstly, cheetahs are the fastest land animal on Earth. They can reach 64 miles an hour within 3 seconds, which is quite impressive. They do have non-retractable claws, which is basically like the spikes Usain Bolt would wear, and that's the reason why they're the fastest animal.
Okay.
They're very light-weighted, their tails act like a rudder, so when they run, they use the tails to turn. And they're very timid animals. They're not aggressive. It's a predator that cannot roar. They prefer to purr, which makes him similar to a house cat. And it's actually one of the only predators that would like to associate with humans as well. Never ever has a human been killed by a cheetah in the wild.
Really?
So it's not an aggressive, dangerous animal at all.
Okay. So most people don't really realize how few cheetahs are surviving in the wild. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what's left?
Yes, the status of cheetahs is quite poor at this stage. We do have an estimated population in total in Africa of around 6,500 cheetahs left. About 70% of these cheetahs occur outside of protected areas, and the main reason is that protected areas are just too small to accommodate and sustain the cheetah populations.
Yeah.
They have huge ranges over which they travel, which makes these protected areas obsolete to their conservation. If you look at the African situation, with the 6,500 cheetahs that still occur in Africa, approximately 3,600 of them occur in one large population in Southern Africa, while the rest occur in East Africa and towards North Africa in small fragmented populations where they're under threat. So in general, the largest portion of that 6,500 cheetahs occur in Southern Africa, and that's the portion where we are very active, working in South Africa with the free-roaming cheetah population.
Okay. The Cheetah Outreach Trust focuses on the cheetahs in South Africa. Can you tell me a little bit about how many cheetahs are free-ranging on unprotected farmlands out there?
Yes, we solely focus on free-ranging cheetahs outside of protected areas. As mentioned previously, the majority of cheetahs are actually free-ranging cheetahs in the bigger population, and it's no different in South Africa. We've got an area of approximately 45 million acres where free-roaming cheetahs occur. That covers basically the northern part of South Africa. The question that you asked me is a very easy question to ask, but it's not an easy question to answer.
Fair enough.
Because the area is so extensive, it's very difficult to count these cheetahs.
Yeah, I imagine.
Free-roaming cheetahs in South Africa are very shy, and they are extremely wild, so they're not very visible. Mm-hmm. So we had an estimate previously that we thought was the magic number for the cheetah population in South Africa, free-ranging ones. We estimated between 400 to 500 cheetahs across that entire area, which at that stage we thought was quite accurately. But we recently did a cheetah census. We're actually ending it officially at the end of November. We've got 3 to 4 years of data. And we've basically tried to count cheetahs where they occur naturally in the distribution range. And at this stage, it does seem that the numbers are much less than we thought. We will most probably be looking at a number of between 200 to 300 cheetahs across the entire range, which is contradictory to what the farmers believe. They believe they're like flies, but our research is proving that we were wrong and the farmers were wrong. So officially, we don't have a number yet, but the estimate will be between 200 to 300 cheetahs.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit what the best way to collect that data was from? or how you did that?
Yes, we used a combination of methods. Firstly, we surveyed the farmers. We got them to answer an online questionnaire survey that we asked them. In the beginning, they were very hesitant because we did ask some sensitive questions. For instance, have you ever killed cheetahs? What do you do to protect your livestock? And we know that many of these farmers use lethal methods that are illegal. So it was a pipe dream to think that they would answer the questions honestly. But we got a way around it. We targeted the farmers' wives, and they gave us many of the information.
Okay.
Because it's an online survey, it takes about 7 to 10 minutes to complete the survey.
Okay.
Farmers don't really have the time to do it. Although everybody's got smartphones, it didn't work out as easy. So that's why we targeted the farmer wives, and we got the baseline information from them.
Okay.
After we got the baseline information, we had a good idea where cheetahs were actually occurring and not where we thought they were occurring. It was very close to where we thought they were actually occurring in the bigger landscape. And then we deployed trail cams to actually photograph cheetahs.
Okay.
That sounds easier than it really is. So the only way you can physically photograph these cheetahs, because of the fact that they are extremely wild, is to find the scent marking trees where they actually scent mark. Now, a scent marking tree is a place where all the male cheetahs in an area actually visit.
Okay.
It's like the local pub. All the males go there to get to know each other and leave their mark. And that, by doing that, we can photograph individual male cheetahs that visit these areas. We did it across the landscape. So we deployed approximately 240 sets of camera traps, trail cams, in pairs. So that means we had close to 500 cameras out in the field.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Which some were very successful and some were not that successful. Because it's biased towards the males, we have most probably missed some of the females. But using statistics, we should be able to come to quite a good estimate just looking at the cheetahs. Cheetahs are quite unique. They've got a spot pattern, and you can identify individuals by looking at the spot pattern.
Okay, you're
it's
looking
like
at the
your thumb.
spots on the chest, or where particularly is that spot pattern?
It really depends on where the characteristic markings are. So some will have it on the shoulders, some will have it on the hindquarters. We always take the back leg or the hindquarter to actually do that, and that's why we have two cameras deployed at each side. You get a left side and a right side photo, but you don't get confused when you don't have both sides. So it was quite a mission to get these cheetahs identified. We've got a whole database of the cheetahs on this now, which has basically given us the baseline data from where we can move forward for future monitoring, to monitoring trends, which includes immigration and immigration into the population, and births and deaths as well. So it's not the easiest thing to count them. We also did scat analysis, looking at DNA. Unfortunately, in the area where these cheetahs occur, it's a very dry area, and we've got many dung beetles in that area, which just destroy the scat. And then we've also used satellite collars on these cheetahs to actually identify where the scent marking trees are, to make it easier for us to put the cameras up.
Okay. And is this like a full-on collar like we think of a dog collar, or how does that work?
It's a collar that looks similar to a dog collar, but it's got a battery pack at the bottom and a satellite device on the top. It gives us readings on a 4-hour basis, which gives us quite a good idea of where those cheetahs are moving. As a benefit to the collaring, we actually gave farmers access to these collars, which was quite a risk taking, because people said, but now the farmers know where these cheetahs are. Well, we know where they are as well. So if they were legally shot, we would know that. It just gives us that baseline of we trust the farmers and they trust us. And that opens up the relationship to start communication with them. Because a lot of the information we need actually comes from the farming community. It's a huge area, and without the information the farmers have given us, we would not have been able to do the census and count these cheetahs to get some type of guesstimate or estimate.
Requires some teamwork.
Quite huge teamwork.
Being a predator, what is a cheetah's threat to survival?
Okay, there are many threats for cheetahs. That's the reason why the numbers are as low as they are. So firstly, in protected areas where other large predators occur, cheetahs are threatened by other large predators. Lions are a major threat to cheetahs, and they will actively pursue them and kill them. The same with leopard. They also kill many cheetahs in protected areas. In farmland areas where the free-roaming cheetahs occur, of course we don't have many large predators there, so lions do not occur there. So cheetahs on farmland areas are safe from there. Leopard numbers are quite low, so they are quite secure from being killed by other predators. The main threat for free-roaming cheetahs is conflict with farmers, as well as the illegal trade in cheetahs, which is quite ripe. Conflict occurs when cheetahs predate on livestock, which are unprotected, as well as in the game farming industry, where they actually predate on their natural prey, but the natural prey actually belongs to the game rancher because it's got a financial value. So all of a sudden the cheetah that's been catching impala is not allowed to catch impala anymore because the farmer makes money out of it. So it's really a situation of trying to get the farmers to accept predation, put stuff in place to actually prevent predation, especially with livestock, and that secures habitat by doing it. The illegal trade is specifically focused on the pet trade and the captive breeding facilities, where cubs are taken out of the wild and sold into the captive breeding facilities, where they are either used for breeding purposes or exported out of the country to zoos abroad. And to actually stop that, South Africa has put regulations in place that a cheetah has got a passport now.
Oh wow.
So you need to prove that that cheetah was born in captivity through DNA analysis before it can actually be exported out of the country from a captive facility, which has actually made the whole effort of taking wild free-roaming cheetah out of the field obsolete. Farmers are really not doing that anymore. But they do still catch large adult cheetahs, which are illegally exported to other countries where hunting is allowed and where those cheetahs are then illegally hunted.
How is the Cheetah Outreach Trust bridging the gap between the farmers and the free-ranging cheetahs?
Well, firstly, we're an NGO that focuses on free-roaming cheetahs, and because they occur on farmland areas, they're actually under the custodianship of the farmers.
Okay.
So whether they survive or whether they not survive is not up to us as a conservation organization. It's up to the farming community and that specific farmer if he's going to tolerate them. And the only time that farmers will tolerate them is if they are not causing any predation damage to them, or if they're not giving them any losses. So we're very sympathetic towards the farmers. We take everything in consideration when we work with them, and we offer them practical solutions. We're not a typical conservation organization that goes out and preaches to farmers. We go to them with workable solutions that have been proven to work, where we can actually reduce predation. So we use Anatolian livestock guardian dogs as an example, which we breed at our Irwin's Guardian stud. We place approximately 25 pups out per year to farmers, which we give to them free of charge. We monitor those puppies on a monthly basis for the first 12 months to make sure that the farmer understands what the puppy is about, and just to make sure that there are no behavioral problems with the puppy. We do that because as soon as a farmer starts to battle with some solution, he gives up very quickly. So we that little conscience in the back of his head to say, don't give up, be patient. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a reduction in predation. So follow our rules and regulations and guidelines, and you're going to be successful. After a year, the dog never becomes the ownership of the farmer. We retain it as a project dog. It just goes over on a long-term basis, after which the farmer takes full responsibility of the dog. He also signs an agreement that he will stop all lethal control on the farm and go over to non-lethal control. And should he go back to lethal control, we've got the right to pull that dog immediately. It's never ever happened. The farmers see the dog as something that is beneficial to him, He doesn't have to go out to shoot predators anymore, poison predators. He can actually spend time with his family at night instead of driving around and shooting predators such as cheetahs. So it's a win-win situation for the farmers.
Yeah.
And just because we try to be understandable of what his situation is, supplying with a practical solution, dogs have always been man's best friend. So it's very easy for the farmer to actually accept this as a solution. And we're always there with an open hand to assist whenever there would be a problem that might come up or not. We've become part of the farming practice. We've become a partner in conservation with that farmer, and that changes attitudes. We're not this conservationists, or the greenies as they call us, that just give them trouble and effort. We actually provide them with solutions. And our money is where our mouth is, and that's what it's all about. And cheetahs are winning in the long term because we are securing vital habitat that is secured just by placing a dog out and by reducing the predation. And by giving a farmer a livestock guarding dog, we've managed to reduce predation between 97 to 100% reduction in predation, which is incredible. I agree with you. The farmer thinks it's incredible, and his wife thinks it's incredible as well, because now she can have a new pickup every second year, not every 5 years anymore, and she can look after her kids, because ultimately farmers don't farm because they just love nature. They want to farm and make money to make a living. It's a business, and if you can give them a solution that they can keep on making money and coexist with these predators, such as cheetahs, it's beneficial to all predators, to cheetahs, to black-backed jackals, to leopard. It's a predator-tolerant attitude we are actually developing in the farming community, but using the cheetah as this flagship species. It's biodiversity conservation in general on farmland areas, with the farmers working with us and not against us.
Exactly. And these dogs have been bred for this. Like, it's in their nature to protect and guard without all this crazy training.
Yes, Anatolian Shepherds have been used in Turkey for over 6,000 years. It's an ancient breed of dog. The guarding instinct is inbred. We can't teach them anything. Instinct kicks in when the puppy arrives. And quite interesting, with a 7 or 8 week old puppy that arrives on the farm, we are forcing the farmer to get out to his livestock on a daily basis now, because he must feed the puppy twice a day. And all of a sudden, even in the bonding phase where the puppy hasn't even gone out to the bush yet, the losses to the livestock is actually going down. And it's not because the puppy is successful. All of a sudden, the farmer needs to be more intensively involved with his livestock. So animals that die of disease are actually recognized as dying of disease, not making assumptions that a predator has caught it and that's why I'm losing animals to predation. So it's just getting the farmers back to physically working with their livestock and not leaving someone else to do it. When the dog starts going out at the age of about 4 to 5 months, it's a learning phase for the dog as well. The bush is a dangerous place, and previously we've lost quite a lot of dogs to snakes. I mean, we've got one of the most poisonous snakes in Africa in the area where we work. It's the black mamba. So to prevent that from happening, we've implemented a snake aversion training phase for the puppies when they're 7 months old. We teach them to stay away from snakes, and that has just increased the survival rate of these dogs. These dogs are amazing dogs. It's the only way for farmers that live in an area that have got predators to actually continue farming successfully and sustainably without killing everything. The days that people were killing everything is gone long ago. We cannot afford to lose a single predator such as a cheetah anymore. The numbers are too low. And it's not up to us or to you guys as conservationists to make sure they survive. It's up to the landowner and the farmer, who has to coexist with these animals, to actually make sure they survive for us and for our grandchildren and future generations to come.
In determining population numbers, the Cheetah Outreach Trust works with a number of universities in South Africa. How do you determine your numbers and monitor the animals in that range?
Counting cheetahs is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So we are involved currently with a few universities locally as well as internationally. We do deploy certain methodologies that actually has proven successful in other countries. For instance, camera trapping, surveying, scat analysis, looking at DNA, just to try and get an estimate of what the numbers are. But ultimately, you need to deploy a long-term monitoring program to actually pick up trends, and that's exactly what we are doing after we've completed the census, is to go over into a long-term monitoring. You can have a number of 200 at this stage, but you never know if that number is going to be decreasing or increasing. And the only way to do it is to continue with a long-term monitoring program using camera trapping, looking at individuals and determining densities of these animals by using camera traps. And that's the way forward, that we will be monitoring and counting cheetahs and keeping tabs on what the population is doing.
It's not an overnight solution. It's going to take some years of commitment.
Yes, it's a long-term commitment. Cheetah populations fluctuate. As I said, cheetahs are very susceptible to other predators as well as conflict with farmers. So there's no way we'll ever have this magic number of 275.5 cheetahs. It's never ever going to happen. Numbers will fluctuate, but as long as we've got a sustainable population, which is either stable or growing, we know we've got no concerns. But as soon as we pick up there's a decline in these cheetahs, we know that we need to focus on that specific area where there is a specific decline, find out what the reason is that there's a decline, and address that specific reason with the farming community to come up with further solutions that will ensure that cheetah populations will stabilize or increase.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges with introducing guard dogs to the farmers, as well as creating tolerance to the cheetahs?
It's a very interesting question, but not a simple answer. We are working with different generations in our farming communities. We've got a very young generation coming in as farmers. We've got the middle generation, which are very well educated people. Most of them have got degrees and educational background. And we've got the older, old-timer generation that's been farming for years. They're set in their ways, they're not prepared to listen to anything. So I would say, to convince the older generation farmer to get rid of his mindset and to accept a new mindset, for instance, the use of livestock guarding dogs to protect his livestock, has been a major challenge for them to accept it as a workable solution. But I always say the proof is in the pudding. So if you target one of the most difficult farmers and you convince him, you've won the community over. And that's what we do. We're not scared to challenge the difficult guys. We're not scared to provide practical solutions to the difficult guys, because we know if we can convince him, he will be the spokesperson for us in the community, which has been proven to be very effective. Other challenges that we have had in the past is to do with the breeding of our Anatolian shepherds. We have a very small breeding project running, and genetics are a major problem in South Africa. We have DNA analyzed many of the breeding dogs that are in private ownership, and 95% of those dogs are related to each other. So it's a very inbred population of Anatolian shepherds. So to diversify those genetics, we have imported some dogs out of the US recently with the support of FIA, which is one of the organizations in the US. And the idea is to diversify the genetics and to get proven working lines going in South Africa again. Tolerance is a very difficult thing to measure. I think the only measurable way of seeing if tolerance is increased or not is to determine if cheetah populations are decreasing or not. You can speak to a farmer and he'll tell you the most beautiful story that he loves cheetahs. But as soon as you leave his farm gate, it's up to him whether those cheetahs are going to survive or not. So building up a trust relationship is extremely important. Becoming part of the community is extremely important. And that's exactly what we do. Cheetah Outreach Trust is a small conservation organization. We're a boots on the ground organization. All the funding we get goes immediately into the conservation of cheetahs and other predators. And that speaks through our actions and our projects. And the farmers realize that we're not someone that only preaches. We actually are there to give practical solutions and involved with their farming communities, involved with their farming practices, and are very sympathetic to what they have to live with. And that's the only way you can establish tolerance and ensure coexistence, is to be part of that community, not be an outsider, and not to have unrealistic expectations of the farming communities. That scares them off, and that just sends them back into their own old ways. And like I said, the older farmers, who are the most difficult, they are very well respected by the rest of the farming communities. If you convince an old-timer, he convinces everybody else. It's a chain reaction. And that's been some of our challenges, but we've overcome many of them. Another one of our challenges is sustainable funding. Conservation is an expensive exercise. Conservation of free-roaming predators as cheetahs takes up a lot of funding. It's a money-guzzling type of project. There's never an end to it. It's a long-term, ongoing conservation project. And sustainable funding is one of the issues that we need to address. And we need people like you guys that have got a conservation background, that have got visitors coming into your facility, to actually spread the word to them. Africa is not Disney, and a lot of people have got this idea that Africa is Disney and everything is kosher and everything is just very well run in the wildlife there. The reality is that animals are being killed. Farmers do have predation losses, and if we don't continue offering this hand of assistance to them, they will wipe out all our predators, because that's the only way they can make sure they make a living. So sustainable funding, spreading the word, making people aware of the plight of the cheetah, making people aware that the amount of spots on 3 cheetahs is the amount of cheetahs that are left in Africa. It's a frightening thought, but it's real. It's reality, and we can't have any of those cheetahs die out anymore. At this stage, cheetahs are classified as vulnerable according to the red listing of the IUCN. We would not want to see them decline and become endangered, because soon after endangered status, you reach extinction. Our children want to know what cheetahs are. It's the fastest land animal on animal. It's a charismatic animal. And it's up to us, it's up to me, it's up to you, it's up to our children to make sure that they survive. And that is the biggest challenge.
Well, Deon, this has been wonderful and so informational and educational. Is there anything else you want the public to know about Cheetah Outreach Trust? And you've mentioned community and funding and just raising awareness. Is there any other ways that we can help you guys?
I think people should be aware of what we are doing. I would urge the general public to follow us on our websites.
Okay.
We've got 2 websites. It's cheetahOutreachTrust.co.za, and then we've got a US-based website as well with a US-based charity, and that's cheetahOutreachTrust.org. And follow us on social media. We post interesting stuff on there that keeps people updated on our daily activities.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was great to have you out here today.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.